More than 30 years, David Bowie has been challenging the limits of artistic expression. He first made his mark in the 1970s with the flamboyant, surreal stage persona Ziggy Stardust. In the 80s, he ascended to superstardom with enormously successful commercial albums, particularly 1983's Let's Dance. He's known as an innovator, a creative artist blending the worlds of music and film and art. Last year, he ventured into publishing with the launch of 21, an independent art publishing house. I am pleased to have him here to talk about a life in music, in film, and now in publishing and art. Welcome. It's great to see you.
Good evening, Charlie.
Well, it's nice to have you back.
Follow that.
Can we do this without Julian? I suspect we can, can't we?
We're never doing it without Julian. Julian will always be there in spirit.
All right. Let me go all the way back because I want to move sort of where you have come to, being what you're doing today. South London, yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, just tell me about where you wanted to be and what it was that influenced you and what it was that got you started.
When I was at school, I was in an art stream, and I guess everything was geared for me to be an artist, a visual artist, and a painter, and or a commercial artist. And I think for about the first 6 months when I left school, I was a commercial artist, making money that way, but I was playing saxophone in the evenings. Right. With rhythm and blues bands. And I found that I didn't like doing designer work for sort of raincoats and slimming biscuits. Yes. A now defunct slimming biscuit, actually, that we worked on called AIDS.
Called what?
It was called AIDS.
Yeah.
That was the slimming biscuit that we were working on. That is no more, of course. And I found that I was earning as much money playing the saxophone in the evening, and it was giving me a lot more pleasure because I was my own master of that. And so I gave up the commercial art and stayed with the saxophone.
It went from one thing to another.
One thing led to another, yeah.
Well, rather over a period of time there in the 60s, but Presley influenced you? Little Richard influenced you?
Little Richard, very much so. Presley, because I think he was just such an indomitable spirit of music in his early days, and it was reckless, and it was really quite a rebellion that he cast upon America and the whole of Western society, really, single-handedly. The White West, anyway.
Yeah.
Little Richard and Fats Domino, of course, the early rockers, and then into things like John Lee Hooker, and also by the 60s, I fell in love with a band called the Velvet Underground, and I think they sort of sorted me out the kind of music that I wanted to write. Not really like them, but I took the tip from them. Yeah. Anyway.
You were going from one band to another. I mean, I've never seen such a list of bands that you were associated with.
Yeah. A weaker band, yeah.
A weaker band?
Yeah.
Yeah. All going to do what? I mean, just to be a musician and to...
Yeah, I couldn't make... I mean, I wasn't very resolute about the idea of being a singer. I played saxophone. I wanted to do that, but a singer was beaten up one night, and so I took over the vocals, and it went down okay, and so I stayed on as singer, and then I got disenchanted with the songs that we were doing. I wanted us to write our own, and they didn't want to write songs. So I got thrown out the band, and then, you know, it was all those kinds of changes.
When was
it fairly sort of, it was really, that's a pretty stereotypical beginnings for any person out of England, I think.
How did
But the interesting thing is the percentage of people in rock music that in fact have some kind of art background compared to American bands. A lot of American bands often come from a different kind of background. It's very often a blue-collar kind of background.
Right.
And it was, and they're probably brought up in more industrial towns, and they're...
Like Springsteen in New Jersey.
It's a typical example. I think in Britain there was really a penchant for anybody studying... Oh, you went to art school to learn how to play the guitar better, it seems to me. And so many of us ended up in rock bands. And I think that gave English rock its kind of character. It gave it the strange quirkiness that it has. I mean... For sure, mine draws on not just rock, but vaudeville and avant-garde. You know, it can wear a red nose and sort of take its clothes off at the same time.
This notion of you as an iconoclast, this sense of always striking out to sort of, as we say, push the edges of the envelope. Where does that come from?
I'm not sure if it's iconoclastic. I think my ideal more is a synthesis. Rather than anything else. I have always liked the idea of the cybernetics of our culture, the way that you can draw several strands together and create a new thing. I hope and believe that it's that what I do is more of a creative thing in that way, that I think it's fine to draw from opera or from the visual arts, from the underground, from mainstream, and just produce a new blend, which is probably a more complete way of describing the way that we live, and creating a sense of the cultural spin by amalgamating all these different threads. That's what I think anyway.
Well,
that's it, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
One of the things that people have always said about you is you keep an eye on what's going on with what is new.
I can't take my eyes off them. I've got an incredible appetite for what we do and how we do it and how we express it. And ever since I was a kid, I always want to know what's out there. I've always wanted to know what's happening.
Do you think of yourself first as a musician? I mean,
actually, I find that the idea of having to say that I'm a musician in any way is an embarrassment to me, because I don't really believe that. I've always felt that what I do is I use music for my way of expression. I don't believe I'm very accomplished at it. And I give a little sigh of relief every time that I come up with something which sounds whole and complete and sort of functions as a piece of music. I mean, sort of... fortunately, it does seem to be there all the time. I never seem to go dry when it comes to writing music, but I don't feel like a musician.
Because you don't feel that you have that talent?
Because probably I don't really take myself seriously enough as a musician at all. I'm far too interested, probably too interested for my own good, but I'm far more interested in the blending of different things. And I just can't, I have the attention span of a grasshopper, which means that it's very difficult for me to become a craftsman. I suppose that I'm quite promiscuous and a jack of all trades, artistically, of course, you know. Monogamy and me are like this. You've got to understand this, Charlie. You know, life's changed. It's moved along. We've reached a plateau of maturity. I've changed.
We behave, don't we?
Oh, yeah, we do.
What's the...
We know a good thing when we see one.
Yes, we do. We certainly do.
Funny how life changes, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes. We're synthesizers, though, aren't we?
We were. Boy, did I synthesize in my time.
Yes, you certainly did. But you don't regret any of it. You don't regret any of it.
I don't actually regret. I don't regret a thing. Your Honor.
One lives one's life so that one can
several times.
So that one can become whatever one is destined to be.
One wakes up at night sweating.
And one has to travel the road and stop wherever life leads him.
Many of mine were cul-de-sacs, but I understand you got a suit like this, John.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Do you have one like this?
Exactly like that.
Exactly like when you go see your banker.
Yeah, I wore it in the hunger.
Did I see something the other day where you were worth like $800 million? $900
million.
900 it
yes.
was. Is that true?
I'm waiting for the check. It's the most...
Everybody who knows you is
everybody
is digging up in your backyard saying, where is he keeping it?
Had so many new friendships since that article appeared. I can't tell you. I feel so beloved everywhere I go. It's absolute garbage. Complete and utter crap.
Okay, 800 million.
Absolutely nowhere near that.
Yeah.
No, that's. I have no idea where they pull that figure from. It's just incredible.
But have you been good at taking money that you...
Very good, but I'm not
taking money that you
have to earn 900 million.
Not that good.
Not that
good. Movies. A long series of movies.
Yes, I've enjoyed doing the movie.
But you don't think of yourself as an actor either?
No, not really. In fact, no, not at all. And I guess it's a vanity that when you are offered a part, if it's with a director that you have a real interest in, or you feel has a new spin on things, it's very tempting to accept the role. And this year I just did another piece with an independent company. A new director, a brand new director. It's his first film. Nearly everybody involved in the thing is brand new. And the star of it is a musician in Britain that I got a lot of respect for called Goldie. And he's sort of really the godfather of a new kind of music that's come out of England over the last 10 years called drum and bass. And this is his first role. And it really tells the story of gang life in Liverpool. In particular, I guess the mixed race gangs and the triad, as there's some kind of conflict there. And it's an extraordinary venture, and so far it looks to be a really great film. I think it's going to make quite a noise when it comes out. It's an excellent piece of work. I had no idea. Goldie asked me if I would do it with him, and I had no idea what to expect, and I just wanted to do it because I liked him and all the guys that he was sort of with. And it's just turned out to be a treat. That's called Everybody Loves Sunshine.
But you have in fact said that the only movies you do are those in which you like the director and you want to do
There's got to be something in there that I really feel that I have strong empathy with, you know. And of course, you know about me and SKs and, you know,
yes.
The military and all that.
What is it you think you do best?
You know what? I think I would love to have been, I would love to have been like Sting and been a teacher. I really would have liked to have done that. What really sort of gets me off is to be able to introduce people to new things. I love the feeling of introducing a new subject or something, especially to younger people, that maybe excites them and gets them going on something and it influences them to do something, you know, opening up some kind of world. I love taking people to art galleries and really corny things like that. I love going to museums with them as well. And it's a joy that I've always had with my son especially. It's been just terrific to be able to do that. Take him to the theatre 1 week maybe, and then take him to a dance club or a rock show and then an art museum and all these different things. And it's just great to see how somebody else takes these same influences and puts them together their own way. Because I remember when people did that for me, I always felt it was a gift when anybody took me anywhere and or showed me a new way of doing things. I always felt that that was the greatest gift that they could give to me, and I love doing that back. I love showing people things like that. And I've got a website called bowieart.com. Right. At the moment, it's quite a vanity box because it's all my stuff. But we do have quite a bit of information on the books with the publishing company.
All right, we'll get to that in just a moment. Let me
but also, no, my point is that in about 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to start putting on new artists. Artists that I believe are very good and really have something to say. And we're also opening it up more as an e-zine with a lot more articles. And I'm going to encourage the people that are using the site to contribute their ideas and maybe galleries or artists and work that they've seen and have them write in and tell us about it. I want to also get to a place where we can have them download work by artists from this site and interfere with it, manipulate it and put it back up again, which I think is a really nice interactive thing to do, is to mess with an artist's work is, I think, great.
Well, I have a magazine here. One of the things that you do for modern painters is you interview artists.
Yeah. I enjoy that tremendously.
Jeff Koons and others.
And I try and make it a deal for myself not to interview anybody that I really don't feel is somebody who has some place or position in my heart as being a pretty good.
It's not somebody you like or curious about.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm a so-called celebrity interviewer, I kind of rather take advantage of that and just go for the people that I really want to interview. It's not a job in that way, you know, go and interview him or her, whatever. I kind of suggest the people.
You go where your curiosity takes you.
Yeah, well, if you got it, use it. You know.
You're painting. We're going to see a few here.
Okay.
How long have you been painting?
Probably, again, I guess it all started bubbling up to play music and sing and paint all around the same time. About 8 years old, I guess I started. Taking it seriously, when I was around 18 or 19, I took it more seriously. And it's gone through ups and downs, you know, zeniths and sometimes well, funnily enough, when music starts to decline in my interest, well, there are moments when you really feel like you haven't got it, that you've got nothing really to express, that it's going wrong, you've lost the plot. At those times, I found that painting has really sort of taken over, and I've produced an awful lot during that time. But they keep balancing each other around. I used to find that they would balance each other very well.
So when one's down, one is up.
Yeah, well, I had a way of working through musical problems by painting them out at one time, and that seems to have disappeared over the years. But
you've lost that ability?
Yeah. For one reason or another, that seems to have changed now.
All right, let's take a look at some of them, and then we'll come back. These are the kinds of images that have been downloaded. These have been, in fact, downloaded by our group here from your website, www.bowieart.com. Okay, let's take a look at the first thing. What's that? Could this be Iggy Pop, huh?
It certainly could be Iggy Pop. That's Iggy Pop in 1976, as I saw him, when we were living in Berlin. We just moved. We both had fairly severe drug problems, and so to rectify that, we moved to Berlin, the heroin capital of the world, which I guess in retrospect doesn't sound like a terribly sensible
No, it doesn't sound very smart to me.
And that's a picture of Jim turning blue in his apartment in Berlin. That's a portrait of me turning into the Lion King.
This is 1995,
yes,
though.
Yeah. I was quite prescient with this because I knew that was going to be a musical.
Now, who influences you in your painting?
A lot of people influence me
yes, I know.
into not painting.
But we want to spare them the credit, don't we?
You know what? I have no loyalty to style whatsoever. I mean, one day I can be a complete minimalist and just paint a stick of wood white, and the next day I want to be quite florid and painterly and do something like the Iggy Pop painting.
But tell me the satisfaction of completing a painting where you're on, that you like a lot.
For me,
the satisfaction of that.
For me, to be quite frank, it's finishing it so I can get on to something else. I mean,
it's getting
weird.
Through
it's
it?
Not. It's getting through it. It's the process. There's something in it that it just turns me to jelly. My heart and my mind just become. I can't explain it. It's a very strange feeling. It's not particularly pleasant either. I can't really say that I enjoy. I can't really say that I enjoy music or painting in quite that. I mean, it's not like sex or something which you can kind of really enjoy. There's something really. It's important. But there's something volatile, emotive, and something that makes me really quite angry about going through the process of both making music and doing visual arts. And,
but visuals are.
But you know, I guess that's my problem.
No, but let's deal with your problem.
But if you deal with my problem, I might not be able to do these things again. You see, I'm wary of analysis.
Yes, sir. But let me point out to you, knowing your history and knowing your family and knowing your background, you have always resisted any suggestion. I want you to look over this way when I'm talking to
you. I'm getting deeply into those eyes.
Yes, I know you are. You were getting into those eyes, weren't you? Now, why are you
What's this about?
You have always resisted any notion that this creativity that you have comes from any sort of dysfunctional or madness out of family.
I think I've often wondered if actually being an artist in any way, any nature, is a kind of a sign of a certain kind of dysfunction, a social dysfunctionalism anyway. It's an extraordinary thing to want to do, to express yourself in such rarefied terms. I think I think it's a loony kind of thing to want to do. I think the saner and rational approach to life is to survive steadfastly and create a protective home and create a warm, loving environment for one's family and get food for them. That's about it. That's actually all. Anything else is extra. All culture is extra. Culture is, that's, I guess it's a freebie. It's something that we only need to eat. We don't need particular color plates or particular height chairs or anything. I mean, anything will do, but we insist on making 1,000 different kinds of chairs and 15 different kinds of plates. It's unnecessary, and it's a sign of the irrational part of man, I think. We should just be content with picking nuts. Not mine, I might add.
You were so on. Let me see the next slide. The next thing is an acrylic and computer collage on canvas.
Yeah, what I do, I take
This is 1997, and we're not...
Yeah, no, we're very recent now. This is what it looks like now. It's not so expressionist, is it? There's a kind of...
No, there's nothing.
There's, I think probably I'm getting influenced by what's called bad painting, which is in vogue. If you want to know about bad painting, ask Charles Saatchi, because he bought everyone in England.
He did?
Every single bad painting in England, I believe.
And did he put him
except that one. But he hasn't bought that one.
Did he put him in storage somewhere?
He's probably sold him by now. You know Charles.
Yes. All right, next slide.
Yes, bad painting meets expressionism. You see, I can do them all in combinations.
Yeah.
You just tell me who you want.
All right.
And you'll get it.
Yes.
That's what this is. It's
an
just
acrylic
yeah, these are a series of paintings of people that come in and out of my life, and I just do very quick sketches and take photographs and Polaroids and produce very fast and, in a way, I think they're fairly accurate portraits.
And who might this be?
This is a trucker. No, there are not too many truckers in my life, Charlie, but this one obviously made a mark. It must have been the underhang.
Yes.
Would you call that an underhang? Well, it's not an overhang, is it?
No, well, I guess it could be an underhang.
So, yeah.
Next slide.
That was a rather, I guess...
Another self-portrait.
Yeah, but, these come from a series of 5 paintings that I did as a potential cover for an album called Outside, and this, in fact, was the one that I chose as the cover.
What happened to the album?
Not very much. It came out, and I think it was quite interesting. In fact, I'm supposed to be doing it as a theatre piece with Robert Wilson for the year 2000. So that's something that we're supposed to be meeting if either of us can find some kind of place where we're both in the same country at the same time.
Well, that would be right now, because he's in New York City.
Is he?
Yes.
I'd kill him for not phoning me.
Next slide.
Robert, wherever you are, contact me, will you? That's called Ancestor Figure.
This was inspired by a trip you went to South Africa in 1995 with Iman.
Yeah, we went over there just after Freedom called, and one of the stories prevalent in Africa is that the ghosts of one's ancestors are white, and often when white man was first seen, he was thought of as being one of the ancestors of the tribe, and so I just took that and did a series of ancestor figures with kind of Ziggy Stardust haircuts.
See, here's the picture I get.
Yeah.
All of it never goes away. It's all still there, so you can reach back and bring it forward and push it back and step forward.
Did I show you this? This is Charlie has this. It's an original piece of merchandise from my Ziggy Stardust tour.
I stole that long time ago.
We pressed 7 of these, and this is one of them.
Discovered. All right, next slide. We got 2 more, and maybe we're going to move on.
Yeah, I think we better. Well, that's obviously that's the female to the series.
Remember, America, if you want these, you can pick them up on the website.
Be my guest.
All right, next slide. This is Bill T. Jones. This is interesting.
Yeah, Bill T. Jones wanted, asked me if I would contribute some art to a benefit that he's throwing for dance, and this is one of 3 pieces, 3 lithographs that I did for him. Voila.
A couple of things about the music.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Let's Dance?
I think it became an incredible... I mean, it was an extraordinary acceptance that I had there. I'd never had anything quite like that before. Up until that time, I was quite happy being a sort of a major cult figure, in a way. You know, it was a nice place to be. It gave me a lot of freedom. I knew that I could depend on an audience that would virtually follow my whims, you know, and I could sort of do what I wanted. But the Let's Dance thing almost became a hindrance and obstacle. In fact, it did become a hindrance and obstacle to me, because I suddenly, my poles changed. But my focus was on, well, what are the audience's expectations of me now? And I started maybe writing for an audience, which I've never ever done before. And when I learned that that was for me a stupid thing to do, I got back into the way of writing for myself again, and I think balance has been, equilibrium has been arrived at now. I'm very, very happy with the way things are, both musically and the kind of simpatico that I have with my audience.
Everything got a lot of very good reviews.
It did indeed. I was so pleased about that, because it was an album that had no compromises on it whatsoever. It was very hard-nosed. And I was just so pleased the way it was accepted. It was great. It was lovely. That's very nice when that happens.
When did you celebrate your 50th birthday?
Yeah.
When?
51 now, Charlie. 51 now.
Yeah, but you're not unhappy about that.
No,
I mean, you seem to have arrived at some acceptance. It might not have been as hard as 40 was for you.
No, but 40 was pretty difficult.
Because you didn't want to let go of the idea that you were still 20.
Everything was wrong. No, it's not. It was more about the fact that it was also my nadir as a musician. I was writing crap, and it just, nothing was going right artistically for me. I thought, you know, I thought I'd just tried. I was trying to write for audiences. That was right in the middle of that period, 1987. And it was just astonishingly awful time for me. And I think I just had to kind of it's almost about pulling yourself together and saying, hey, I've got maybe this finite length of time left. I really would like to enjoy it. So, you know, stop self-pity and stop all these kinds of things and just pull yourself together and maybe make some decisions about what it is you really want out of life. And I think the first thing I wanted was each day to be really good. And so I had to go about changing everything in my life. Everything. And I've arrived now at a place that I hope that I'm not self-satisfied, but I'm certainly a fulfilled man. I'm fulfilled romantically, musically, artistically. I love my family. We're so close now. I have a terrific relationship with my son. Just, I can't tell you how great. And so it's something I just want to keep on the front burner every day. I just want it to be just like that until death strikes, you know, and that would be cool.
Good for you. All right.